Hi everybody, good evening and welcome back to another stream of House of Medics. I know it's been a while, but I'm back guys, okay, I'm back. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, I'm joined to my left with a beautiful lady. Her name is Dr. Veena, so I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you Tanisha, thank you for having me. I have a very beautiful host with me. Hi guys, I'm Dr. Veena. I'm a full-time NHS GP. I'm also a media doctor and a choreographer. Yes.
Okay, so choreographer in dancing?
Dance, yes,
okay.
Dance choreographer.
So, first question, and we will go back a bit and talk about, you know, why you became a doctor, why you wanted to become a doctor, but you said you're a media doctor.
Yeah.
What's a media doctor?
So alongside clinical work, I get invited to go on either talk shows or news channels if there's like a health topic that they need a primary care clinician to come and comment on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dr. Veena, I am not in the Medicare industry. I don't know anything. Well, I think I've learnt a lot doing the streams, but I might ask you a lot of questions that you might think I'm a bit weird, but I don't know anything to do with medicine. And we have a lot of students that join us as well. So you'll be teaching me and you'll be teaching our students.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into the nitty gritty. You work for the NHS,
yes,
an NHS GP.
Yes.
What is an NHS GP?
Well, it just means I'm a GP and I don't do any private work. It just means I work for the NHS full-time. So GP is a family doctor or a general practitioner, the person you go to in the community when, well, I always tell my patients this, like, you know, when you go to see your dentist, you might go routinely for routine checks. You don't go to see your doctor just for fun. You go when something is wrong. So we're your first port of call when anything happens. Yeah.
Okay, but you're based, instead of at a doctor's, you're based at the hospital.
No, so I do clinical work and A&E work.
What is clinical work?
So it just means when you're in clinic. So when you say doctors, do you mean like a GP practice? Yeah, GP practice. So the difference is if you're an NHS GP, you could be working in a clinic, you could be working in out of hours, in A&E. But if you're a private doctor, you could be sometimes working for companies like Bupa, you could be consulting online, you could be just offering private services like Harley Street clinics, those kind of things. Okay. But I just do all my work for the NHS at the moment.
Got you in a doctor's?
In doctor surgery and A&E, yeah.
Okay, so you alternate between the two?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how did you even get into medicine? Do you have anyone in your family that's in medicine?
I was the first doctor in my family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so no, I didn't have anyone.
What was your inspiration? Why medicine?
So it wasn't even medicine, to be honest. I wanted to be an astronaut.
Wow.
And then my...
Okay, no, we can't skip.
It wasn't medicine.
Why did you want to be an astronaut?
So I loved astrophysics.
So what is an astronaut? Just for the people that maybe, you know...
No, but you study astrophysics and then you get to go and challenge your body physically in space and do all these cool things and learn all these cool things.
Now you're saying it sounds
It's
cool.
amazing.
I get it.
But then my physics teacher sat me down and told me that I was really bad at physics and that I shouldn't, it probably wasn't a good idea. No, but he was right. He was right. And then we did a pros and cons about if you pursue each career, who you could impact, what your learning would be. And he was amazing. He influenced a lot of my early decisions. Okay. And I think medicine's the way to go because I love problem solving, I love people, and I wanted to do something where you could actually make a bigger change. Yeah.
Okay, so he said no to the astronaut stuff, and then talk to us about your journey going into the NHS system, learning medicine, studying, and all of that kind of stuff, the pros and cons.
Sure. So I didn't actually get into medicine the first time. And I took a gap year. In that gap year, I danced a lot.
What did you study in, like...
A-levels?
Yeah, A-levels, college. What did you
study?
So,
it was a long time ago. I did chemistry, biology, physics, maths, the boring stuff. I didn't do any of the fun things back then, yeah. Okay. And we didn't have double A stars and things. It was just your simple ABC back then.
Do you need chemistry to be able to do... Apply
to medicine, yeah. You need chemistry, yeah. Okay. So I did those, applied, got an interview, botched the interview. You know when you walk out of the interview and you know, I lost that one.
It didn't go very well.
Yeah, it didn't go very well. So I knew it was gone. I was scared to tell my parents, but now looking back, it was a huge blessing because in that year, I ended up representing our country in a dance reality TV show. I was traveling abroad. Yeah, so I did lots of cool things. Wow. Yeah. and then applied the next year. And this time I prepared much harder and then got in. Yeah.
Awesome. When you say you got in, where did you get into?
So I did medicine at King's.
Okay.
And then
Is that King's College?
King's College London. And in between that, I intercalated and went to Imperial to do a management degree as well. Yeah, so I qualified in 2015. And from then, I was working full-time as a junior doctor for 5 years. So you have to do your 2 years of foundation training as a junior doctor. So you rotate every 3-4 months, and then you apply for specialty training. So my specialty training was in general practice, which is another 3 years. So, so 5 years of working and exams and training, and then you qualify as a GP.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm still learning.
Yeah.
When you said you have to choose your speciality, for example, Dr. Emma chose dermatology.
Yes.
And you chose
general practice. Yes.
So why did you choose that amongst all of the other specialities?
Because it's the best specialty.
But why?
Don't let anyone tell you why. Because I love being a generalist and I love seeing a story.
It covers everything, doesn't it?
Covers
it's
everything.
Not just dermatology.
No,
it's
and it's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, every specialist, knows their stuff, and I'm not talking down about any other specialty. But when people ask me why GP, because they especially in hospital medicine, they think, oh, it's a cop-out, you've taken out the easy route. But actually, it's really hard being a generalist. And even when I did my pediatric jobs, I remember telling the peds doctors,
peds is children.
Yes, children's medicine. It's really hard being a generalist for little people. It's hard because you need to know all the systems, but all the numbers are different. For instance, your heart rate range is very different. When you're a child, the normal range is from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 6, and 6 to 12 are different. So you need to know all the normal ranges for all the, it's just a lot more information, a lot more to kind of take in. So I have a lot of respect for generalists, Okay. But I love general practice,
Okay, cool. So talk to us a little bit about a day in the life of an NHS general practitioner. You said you're in A&E sometimes?
Yes.
How does a general kind of day in the life, just in case anyone wants to actually get into what you do now?
Yeah, and I think, so the best part about being a GP is you can actually craft and kind of design the life that you want. And I say this because I do a lot of things outside of medicine, and my typical day might not be the same as someone else's typical day. So no 2 weeks look the same for me. I decide which clinics I want to do, and I plan it a couple of months in advance. So there are days where I could maybe be in clinic from 8 to 4 or 9 to 6. There might be days where I'm in A&E from 4 p.m. to midnight doing out-of-hour work.
So do you choose your hours, or?
I do, yeah.
You choose your hours?
Once you're qualified as a specialist, not when you're a junior doctor.
Wow.
Working, because...
Actually, I think Ali is a specialist pharmacist now, a lead specialist pharmacist now.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she can choose her hours. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it depends. Obviously, you need to work a certain hours to stay qualified and do all your
but the overtime and stuff, you can decide if you want to do that. That's very,
autonomy
very cool.
over your life. Finally.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pro. What about the cons?
No, so I say that's a pro because as a junior doctor, I remember trying to get days off to go to my best friend's hen. I had to beg and I had to do a triple swap to get this particular weekend off because I was meant to be on call, which meant that when I got back from the trip, I was working a 13-day stretch of 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
That was the only way I could get that weekend off. That's crazy. Yeah, so your life is shackled to the rota when you're a junior doctor, and any doctor out there will tell you this. But once you're fully qualified, you have a bit more control over your life.
Awesome. Hi Jay, we're seeing all your comments, guys, so please continue to send any questions that you might have in. Now, Veena, you sound very passionate about medicine and stuff. Why is it important to love what you do, especially when it comes to people and medicine and all that kind of stuff? Why do you think it's important to love what you do?
The honest answer is if you didn't, it would almost become a chore. And when you're forced to do something that you don't enjoy, you might not put your entire heart into it. You might just do the minimum.
And it's people's lives that you're playing with, isn't it? So you kind of have to...
It might take the fun out of living for you. It might be... I think you have to do things that make you feel alive, so then you bring that passion to your job, and it allows you to problem solve a bit differently.
Yeah.
So you may really connect with the patient and think of ways that are more applicable to them,
right,
than say just going through a textbook and thinking, okay, I was told to do this, so I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. So I feel like we've covered a lot in a short amount of time. I want to talk about your dancing.
Okay.
You're a professional choreographer.
Yeah.
How did you even get into it? You're also a full-time GP. How have you balanced the both? How have you done this?
So I've been a trained dancer from a young age. So in Indian style. So I've trained in classical Indian dancing. It's called Bharatanatyam.
It's called
Bharatanatyam. That's what it's called.
Bharatanatyam.
Yeah. Oh, well done. That was really good. That was really good. I will teach you. I can teach you a few mudras if you want.
Yeah, teach me.
Okay, try. Do this.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're really good.
I
am. No, you are.
Bharatanatyam?
Yeah, so that's one of the hands, yeah. And then you can do this. That's like lotus. You can open it up there. There we go. Yeah.
I feel like we do
so
this.
This is.
I feel like so you do this. And
and you can open it. Yeah, and then this one's a bit more harder. So you get all your fingers together. So tense them, straighten the line.
Yeah.
Bend your thumb, and then get the second last one down here. Oh. There we go.
So what's this called?
So you can hold it here.
That's a bit mad.
Yeah, Tripataka. So you want to straighten that here. So it'd be like that. Yeah. We're going to end up doing a sign language course. So
okay, wait. No, I have to do this.
So it's like so this particular style is like equivalent to your classical form of ballet. Yeah, but it was really good. Really good. She's got the eyes. It was really good. So it's like your classical form. So once you have your base in it, you can then do other things. So I trained in it as a young child, and then in my teenage years, you know how everyone has a part-time job?
They're laughing at us.
Did you?
Why are you guys laughing? I don't understand. I did well, guys. Okay. Are there names of the
yeah, so this is
Pataka. Sorry, I've gone back.
This is Pataka.
Pataka.
This is Tripataka.
Three Pataka.
Yeah. This is Kartharimukha.
I'm not even going
to... Yeah, but Pataka, Tripataka, let's leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go down. Yeah. I'll come with you to one.
Yeah,
because this seems very interesting. Okay, sorry. As you were, darling, as you were.
What was I even saying? Yeah, no, so...
Dancing.
What was your first job as a teenager?
I started working, oh gosh, I'm being interviewed. I started working at the age of 14 in a cafe, actually. Okay. I've always been surrounded by food because my dad does food stuff as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so food stuff.
Yeah, so my first job was as a dancer with the dance company.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a normal thing because you're a trained dancer, you're part of a company, and then you start doing shows.
So are you teaching others to dance?
So I started off being one of the dancers, and then you get taught how to become a teacher. And then you're a teacher, and then you kind of level up to a choreographer.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it was just a job. It was just, creative.
Do you have siblings, brothers and sisters?
Yeah, one sister.
So what was your sister's name?
It was very creative. It's Gina.
Gina. Did Gina used to come with you to your classes?
No, she wasn't into dance.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you have your family. Did your mom used to do it, or is it just you?
It was my dad.
Your dad?
My dancer.
Cool.
Yeah, he was a dancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's how it just went alongside. So people think, how did you balance it and all of this through med school? But when it was your job, everyone has a part-time job.
And you enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah. You got to see cool things. We were like choreographing music videos, dancing behind artists that you listen to and love. Getting to see. We performed with Jay Sean and Raghav, and like did a lot of festivals here and there. Such a long time ago now. Yeah. Nice. So got to do all that.
Before you were able to choose your own hours and be as flexible as your medicine life is, how were you balancing the both of them? Because it sounds it sounds intense.
It was, yeah. It was intense. So the year I qualified, I started a YouTube channel because I couldn't then go to auditions and do the dancing stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought I wanted to create like my own platform where I could still be creative while being a doctor. So the channel's called IV Dance because I wanted.
This is on YouTube, yeah. IV Dance on YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
So like let dance run through your veins, dance IV. That was the concept. And that's what I did. So every couple of months I'd get the girls together, choreograph a piece, and that's how I did it with medicine. And then if like a big job came that I could make or could go to audition, I would do it. Yeah.
I don't know, Veena, it's still... So when you say you got the girls together, yeah, say you finished work at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
How many days a week would you then go on to doing...
Okay, you want to know the real truth?
Yeah. I want to hear that you're exhausted. And
okay, so the real truth is you have to make sacrifices. So those first couple of years building the channel, I didn't have a social life. All of my annual leave was learning how to editing videos, choreographing, filming, figuring out how we could So my first year as a doctor, I was working in Northampton. So I'd finish shifts at 6, 7, drive to London by 8:30, rehearse from 9 to 11, and then drive back.
Yeah, you didn't have much of a social.
So you make sacrifices in those years while you're building, and then you have a system in place which then works afterwards. And this was the generation where we used to do YouTube videos, not reels and not 15-second videos. We're talking 1-minute videos, 2-minute videos,
And then you had to edit that and then...
So I didn't initially. I tried to get someone to do it, but they charged me so much money, I just couldn't afford it. So I was like, how do I get rid of this bottleneck? So I had to teach myself how to edit. I couldn't afford it. But now I edit everything.
And now you call yourself the media doctor. So it worked out.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's move on swiftly. I want to know how you managed your mental health in terms of doing so much and not having a social life. For a lot of people, especially a lot of doctors that I've sat here and interviewed, they need their friends and family. They need at least a day to actually kind of recharge.
Yeah.
How did that affect your mental health positively or negatively when you was doing so much all the time?
So I think it's a 3-part answer, really. I think the first part is everyone is different, and what may overwhelm one person may be normal for another person. Okay. So from a very young age, I've always had a lot on my plate, and it's been normal to rehearse and study and do exams and do dance shows. It was very kind of normal. So if I stopped it, that would be abnormal because I wouldn't know what to do with all that time. A lot of my close friends have come from dance. So it may seem like I wasn't socializing, but actually meeting, training, working together with them, it was a very social thing. So a lot of my best friends are dancers, and some of them are even medics, and they have a similar thing. So a lot of doctors I know actually have a lot of other passions. So you end up attracting similar people who have a lot of things going on. So
you'd be going to work and your friends would be there, then you'd be going to dance and your friends would be there. So
work was more colleagues because you move jobs so many times, you barely get to make that many friends as a junior doctor. So that would just be your colleagues, and then... So yes, you're right. When the colleagues would maybe go out in the evenings to build bonds, I would be going to the studio. Right. So I would choose where I wanted to invest my time.
So that's sacrifices.
True. Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of mental health, there were a lot of battles with parents, of course, because they would not understand why you're doing what you're doing. They're like, you're a doctor now, why are you dancing? You know, it doesn't look professional. It kind of maybe taints the professional side of things. So that was a battle, and you had to explain a lot, especially a South Asian parent, you know, how passionate you are about something and what you want to do.
But that was kind of your release, so you knew that you had to keep
going. And it was a battle. It wasn't easy. I would love to sit here and say, oh, my parents supported me and it was all very easy. It wasn't. It was hard. And the other side of the third part of the mental health was just your own self-doubt. I think, like, you know, everyone has an element of imposter syndrome.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think it's just you thinking, am I good enough? What can I do better? So for me, if I created a video, it needed to challenge me. I needed to be better than the video before. So I had all these parameters I set for myself. That's where it got a bit challenging. I couldn't just, because I was like, if I'm sacrificing all this to make a video, it needs to be something, right?
Love that. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. So really enjoying the conversation, but we're going to go into a quick advert and then we're going to come back and continue with Dr. Veena. So see you guys in a minute.
Since civilization began, man has been in the pursuit of health. From experimenting with herbs to the discovery of modern medicine, the human race has sought to be healthy. When a people decide that wellness is not just the absence of disease, but also a state of being that involves body, mind, soul, and spirit, these people demand a new system. The new generation will be characterized by innovation. We are HOM Pharma.
Hi guys, welcome back. It's so weird to see myself on the screen. I can't see any of the comments anymore. So cool. So we've been in conversation with Dr. Veena, having an absolutely amazing conversation actually. So we're going to divert a little bit and we're going to talk about Dr. Veena's mum, who she lost. You can see that she's wearing a jumper that says, is it Sa? I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
No, you're fine.
Sada?
Yeah, Sada. Yeah,
Sada.
you're right, yeah.
So if you want to just let us know what this is, a charity, and how it came about and why.
Yeah, sure. Apologies in advance because obviously a sensitive topic.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum got really unwell the day after Christmas last year, and she was in her early 60s, ended up going to hospital in Jan and was in hospital for 150 days. Within a couple of months, we were told she's palliative, which means there's no cure and we need to start planning for end of life. Now, being a physician, being a daughter, and then also being a Christian, it was a big battle of what role do you play? Are you the problem solver? Are you the, so it was personally, it was life-changing personally.
How did you deal with that, being a doctor yourself, obviously trying to maybe help and come up with the answers as well, and maybe, saying to the people that are at the hospital, no, this is the best way. How did you mentally deal with that?
I think I just went into action mode. I just went into problem solving and action more than actually sitting to feel anything, because I was very aware that some things might be the last time we do things. So every encounter, like I didn't know which encounter, would be the last or which one. So I was just so conscious of so many things. I'm sure it's your mum, it's not. Yeah. And I'm like the oldest and I'm the only medic in the family. Oldest. It's just me and my sister and I'm the only medic in the family. So everything comes to you. So it was actually the toughest year of my life and it was actually the worst part of things. So she was in hospital for 6 months and then she got moved to a hospice and she was just there for 6 days and she passed away on the 1st of June. And it was just horrible. Like it was just horrible. And afterwards, going back to work as a doctor, seeing the same...
Did you have to take some time off?
I did to do everything. But I think, if I'm being very honest, it helped me to go back to work as well, because...
Was it like a distraction kind of thing? Or?
No, it was... I just wanted to not think about what had happened and I just wanted to go back to serving and doing a job, because being also around the family after a certain point was very difficult because everyone internationally, there's just so much everyone was asking and expecting of you. It almost felt easier to just go to work and do what you needed to do. But being at work and seeing your average 60-year-old patient with the same uncontrolled diabetes, which is what caused everything, time and time again just really made me take a step back and go look at the data and do some research and look into what is the root cause of this. Why are we suffering with this? So it's fueled
your passion for what you do even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love
and
that.
That's where actually you'd be really surprised. So initially I was even thinking, I don't know if you know this, but South Asians and Afro-Caribbeans, all of us ethnic minorities, we have a higher risk of getting diabetes. Did you know that? Yeah. Do you know why?
No.
Yeah, so evidence isn't clear why. Diet and lifestyle is linked. There's also a genetic predisposition, which means we can't even control it. We're born with certain genes. Yeah. Like some Caucasian people have more tendencies towards cancers. We are more likely to get these conditions.
Diabetes and
heart disease, strokes. Yeah. So because not everyone talks about it, they think, oh, we have diabetes, we just live with it. Yeah. But what happens is when it becomes uncontrolled, the complications can be so bad, it's too late to then do anything.
Even do anything about it.
Exactly. And I think that basic education of how we can fix things before it gets to that stage, there isn't enough out there for these specific communities. Yeah. So I had to really go back and sit down with, my team of good friends and who are all physicians, an amazing source of strength in my life, and think, I want to build something. But do I do it for the entire ethnic minority group? What do I do? And then I think I prayed about it, thought about it, and I thought, actually, let me home in on South Asians. So that's where it comes from. So this is UK's first charity solely focusing on saving lives in South Asian patients with diabetes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's the South Asian Diabetes Association in memory of Helen.
That's amazing. So what is the at or the social media handles, just in case anyone
so
wants to...
So it's at sadah, sadah.uk, and our website is www.sadah.org. We're having our launch event on the 11th of October in London Bridge. We have tickets, you can donate, come down, celebrate with us. There'll be food, there'll be music, there'll be some amazing keynote speakers, and we're just going to kickstart something that I think is actually going to save lives. Yeah.
We'll be there. House of Medics will be there, so hopefully you guys are going to be there as well. So for anybody in the Asian or Black community that you think may need to know a bit more about diabetes, and you said, is it heart risk?
Heart disease,
like that, what would be the best way for them to kind of do their checks and make sure that they're all good?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, firstly, if you're able to, find out a bit about your family history. So maybe speak to mom or dad and ask, was there anybody under the age of 60 who had a heart attack or a stroke? Ask if they had diabetes. Ask if there are any cancers that run in the family. Just so you get an idea. If you don't know, some people can't find that information, that's fine. The next step would be to see your GP to do a routine blood test if you're an adult. And there are two things I would advise to get checked as a baseline. Something called a HbA1c. That's your sugar control level. Have you heard of it before?
I have not. HbA1c.
Yeah, so it's actually a level, when you test it, the number tells you how good your body is at controlling sugar over the last 3 months.
Well, I definitely need one of those.
Yeah, so there are ranges. So that number tells you, are you pre-diabetic, are you diabetic, or how good your diabetic control is. If you're in the pre-diabetic range, you're able to actually reverse it.
Can you buy this online?
You can, but your GPs can easily do it for you. You don't want to do it. You don't want to spend 80 quid trying to get a private test.
You can just go for regular checkups.
Just a regular, ask for a HbA1c test, a sugar test, like a sugar level, and also just check your total cholesterol levels. That's what you should ideally just check as a baseline.
Is cholesterol the same as blood pressure, or am I?
No, they're related. Okay. They're related. So blood pressure is when you put the machine on and then you get the numbers. So for each age range, depending on what diseases you have, we have values we want it to be under. So the average blood pressure for a healthy person, we want it to be under 140/90. But that again varies person to person. That's what we'd want it to be. But cholesterol, you want to ideally have it less than 5. So those are the levels. So find out your family history, check these 2 levels, and then if they are high, sit down with your GP, trust me, they have the information, and make a plan of how you can reduce it and be realistic with your plan, because I think everyone wants to do 10 things at once, and it's never going to work. You have to just start with one thing and just be consistent and keep it going with it.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. So, couple of questions. Dr. Abe, if you can help me just scroll up, please, sir. We'll just read some of the questions. It's not actually moving. Okay, I'll read the one that I have on my phone that has been texted to me. She says, if you could do something different in medicine, what would it be?
Like a specialty?
Specialty or anything at all?
In medicine, there was a point where I was considering being a surgeon. There was a point where I was considering dermatology. But then I'm glad I figured out I wanted to do GP, so I wouldn't go back and do any other specialty. Not in this country.
You love what you do.
Yeah, not in this country. Not in this country, because I just think when you think of the training program and you think of all the other things you want to do, you have to. Yeah, not in this country. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I'm just going to quickly go on to YouTube just so I can quickly get the comments up myself.
So I wouldn't go back and do any other.
I know there was something that Aaliyah asked.
Yeah, I think I saw it actually. It was
okay, it says, I can imagine how difficult it is. You have to solve every query, 10 minutes. Okay, so Lola says, what is the biggest misconception about GPs?
That we're lazy or that we don't work. I think I hate it.
Can I say what I first thought about GPs?
Yeah.
You go in there, obviously Dr. Emma's explained a lot. You go in there and you have about, I think the window is between 7 to 10 minutes. So it seems very rushed, but we don't know that you're under a time limit and you have to kind of look for the thing online and then do a prescription and then move on to the next patient. So it did seem very rushed.
So it's a skill, right? It's a skill. There's a skill to not make it seem like it's rushed to the patient. And I think every doctor has a different consulting style. So I'm sorry that you felt it was...
No, that's okay. Apologise. I live with doctors now. I get it. I get it. It's all good.
But I think the misconception that they're lazy and they don't want to work, or just honestly, I physically hurt when I hear these things because it's not true. I think it's very easy to be a bad doctor, but it's very hard to be a good it's very hard. And I think a lot of us out there work really hard, so I think that that's a misconception.
Awesome, thank you. Another question by Nana says, what's the reaction of your fellow GPs when hear you do choreography on the side? Maybe when they hear that you do choreography on the side, dancing on the side.
So you would think that they would find it weird, or they might judge you or look down, or, you know, but actually I've had a really positive response. So every time, if the practice reception finds my TikTok or see me on the news or something, they're like, oh, you're the doctor from TV, or we've seen you dance. And it actually just creates a new kind of dialogue that we talk about. Oh, that's what you do. What do you do?
Because you don't always hear that every day.
I think it would be a problem if it negatively impacted my role as a doctor, or if it got in the way of my clinical work. But I think when you have two personas, it's not like sometimes I dance into work, but you know, when I'm in the clinic, I'm in a different role. So I think it's fine. I think they really like it, and I then show them videos, and it mostly ends with, can you teach my kids?
Oh gosh. But all your videos are available on YouTube for people to watch, learn, all that kind of stuff, isn't it? Okay, awesome. I have another question. She says, what's your top tips for work-life balance and managing your time? I think we briefly touched on that.
Yeah, I think, so lots of things actually. I think you have to work-life balance, did they say, right?
Yes.
So if I'm honest, if you're trying to build something initially, the truth is there won't be a balance. And I don't think many people are open to say this. There won't be one. And you have to be okay with that for a short period of time.
So what overthrows the other? The GP stuff?
Oh, in my personal life? So it depends. When it was my GP exams, for instance, I cut out dance entirely because my priority was qualifying, getting my exams, and they were hard, right? So I
how long did you cut it out for?
4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Did you find it hard to do that?
Yeah, it was hard. There was a lot of FOMO because a lot of things were happening, things were moving. That's when Reels started coming in, and I missed out on that whole wave. But I tried to plan for it beforehand. So I tried to pre-create content so it could kind of keep ticking in the background. But I also I didn't take it too seriously because everyone who follows and knows me knows I try and do both. And I think they're very understanding that actually different phases or seasons of your life require different priorities.
Yeah, love that.
And I think that is a reality you have to accept. So if you're trying to like launch a brand, launch a business, that may need to take more priority than your Friday nights in a club, you know. You may lose a bit of sleep, you may have to wake up at 5 a.m. If you're trying to get fit, you may have to turn down that cake and, you know, the other things like that. So I think understanding that initially when you're building, there's kind of no balance, but then lists. So I really, really, really go by lists. Have you heard of Notion?
No.
It's amazing. It's an app, it's an online source, so notion.com. I use it to organize everything.
You should ask them to sponsor you for that, that plug that you just did.
No, but it's amazing. It's free for students, so you should definitely download it and use it for your studies. But I know a lot of professionals use it as well. So just having plans and having 0 days, because it's great being productive, working all of this, but I schedule in 0 days where I literally do nothing. Literally
rest
nothing.
Days very, very, very
and then necessary. You get recharged and you come back and you get on with things. And I also, if I do something, I'm very present in what I'm doing. So I think mindfulness has also helped me really balance and appreciate the things that happen. So even with posting on social media, I take videos and pictures, but I only post when I'm resting at the end of the day. I try and be present as much as I can.
Got you. Love that. That's very good advice. Another question. Would you ever quit medicine to do dance full time?
This has been the big question since I started. So my trusted videographer who I've worked with for years, he used to, every time we'd go to shoot something, Tanisha, that's what he would ask me. So V, if you had to pick, I'm like, yo, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't know. I don't think I could pick. And that's because I think I enjoy one because of the other. So there was a week where, well, there were a couple of weeks where I was dancing a lot. And it was great, but something was missing. I need that intellectual stimulation. I need to be cerebrally stimulated and like excited to then go enjoy the creative stuff.
Got you.
And that's why I could never do just medicine full time because I think it would just get too much. Yeah.
Lovely. So you, in your mind, you have actually created the balance.
I think because now I'm at a point, where I can control my work schedule. I keep a day for training and dance, or 2 days, depending on the week and what projects there are, if there's a show coming or whatever it is, and depending on the season that you want to do things. And That's what's worked for me. But in the building phase, there wasn't much of a balance. It was more work. Yeah.
Work, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Aaliyah says, I look after vascular patients. This is Aaliyah. She's a lead specialist pharmacist. She's also part of the House of Medics. I'm sure you guys know who she is. So she's asked, I look after vascular patients whom majority are due to uncontrolled diabetes. Would be good to come and join. That wasn't a question. Thanks, Aaliyah. So Lydia says, are there many female GPs?
Loads. And I think a lot of it is also because we get such a good balance, because you can actually decide your calendar, you can decide how much you want to work. Loads. In a couple of the practices I work in, a lot of them actually on mat leave now, so I'm the only female doctor, which means all the female cases come to you, which is fine. Like, you just get to put that on.
Is that normal? Are they meant to go to the males as well?
They are. But then they might just feel more comfortable speaking to a woman. So they might, So some of them I work in South Asian communities where there's a lot of Muslim women, so they might not want to go to see a male.
So they wouldn't see a male, would they, in that case?
Not ideally. Some of them are open, but a lot of them, if you have to do kind of personal, physical examinations, they may not want to. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we're just going to begin to round up. Doc, is there anything you want to say to anybody who may be an aspiring NHS GP and want to do something creative on the side? What advice would you give to anybody that's about to start studying?
Start. Just start, and don't doubt yourself. You'll figure it out as you go along, but just start. Don't listen to any of the noise. Focus on what you have to do and keep your tunnel vision on your goal.
Awesome, thank you. And in terms of studying, would you say it's best to kind of find a group of people to study with when you're studying? Obviously, I haven't studied medicine, so I don't know how intense or how crazy it can be. But did you study by yourself mainly? Because obviously you were doing dance as well. How did you find the studying?
So it's a mix. I think in med school, it depends. If you're doing OSCE preparation, so OSCE are your practical exams where you have to act out a scenario with your actor who's meant to be a patient. So those are our practical exams in med school.
This is when you're studying?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have written exams. So for that, a lot of us studied by ourselves. But then when you have to practice for your OSCEs, you need to practice with people. So one pretends to be the patient, one pretends to be the doctor.
So you actually...
I don't sound like you're playing doctor-patient, but that's actually...
You have to do stuff to them?
Yeah, so not surgical things. So they'll be actors. So they're given a script and you have to consult them. So where's your pain and all of this. And when you have to do physical examinations, they actually bring in patients who have renal transplants and scars. So you see it and then you have to give the answer. And the examiner will be sitting there watching you do it. Nice. That's how you get examined,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a mix.
That's a bit intense, though.
Yeah, but how else would you examine it?
True. Very true. Okay, lovely. So if you could just let us know about the charity, how we can continue to support and follow the social media platform.
Yeah.
And then if you want to let the viewers know your social media page as well so they can follow you. Are you open to mentorship as well?
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
people DM you and ask you any questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you prefer email or DMs?
I prefer emails just because the DMs might get lost in a pool. So you can reach me at itsdoctor, so itsdoctor.veena@gmail.com. My Instagram handle is @Dr Veena, and we're launching Sadar on the 11th of October. Please follow our website, so www.sadar.org. I think we're going to do a lot of work for this community, and hopefully it translates into a lot of different communities that need that work. Because the goal we have is to actually save and influence over 1 million lives.
Yeah. And we, House of Medics, we fully support that. We think that is absolutely amazing. So anything else we can do to help you,
come to the launch.
Let us know. We're there already. We're with you. In fact, I'm running it. Like we're there. We're there already. A couple of questions that have come in that I'm just quickly gonna ask.
Yeah.
So Edward says, why is it difficult to get appointments with GPs? And that's true. I'm gonna as well, because first you call them and then they make you have a phone consultation. And then that actually takes like a week to even get the phone consultation. And then eventually you go in and see them. Why is it so difficult?
So that's true. But if you remember before COVID, it wasn't that impossible, was it? Do you remember how things were? Because everyone would just come and sit outside. It wasn't that hard. So I think what happened in COVID, because everything became remote, each practice has adopted a different system of how they're going to triage patients. Some may have you do online consults, and then the doctor calls you back and decides if you have a face-to-face. Some may put you in a list, some may wait weeks. So I'm really sorry if it has taken weeks, but the truth is we as GPs don't have much power in how the managers and the practice
You just see the patients, but they book the appointments.
We are employed by the practice to just see the patients, but how the clinic is run is an administrative thing that the practice decides.
So do you think that's why the receptionists are always
but they go through so
depressed?
much. They get through. Last week I bought my entire reception team bubble tea because they just go through so much because everyone takes the anger out on them.
We can tell when we go there.
Yeah,
we can tell.
They're just,
always angry.
But then they go through so much. I feel like everyone takes the anger out on them, and I hear it because when the patient talks to you, their tone changes. And I'm like, actually, if you can be this nice to me, why can't you be that nice to my receptionist? Do you know what I mean? They don't deserve that, I think. They go through a lot, and I think they've been under a lot of pressure as well. So I think please be kind to your receptionists. Yeah.
Okay, I have one last question. How did you get into the media doctor stuff, and why do you enjoy it?
So through dance, I started developing a bit of a following and a platform where my voice was kind of heard a bit louder. And then being a qualified GP, I felt passionate about a lot of primary care and lifestyle medicine. So when I was invited to actually go and speak on GB News and with like Colin Brazier.
What's GB News?
So it's an online news channel.
Okay, nice.
And a few other channels where they wanted a GP, a young female GP, to come and comment about certain topics. So specifically, initially it started off with female-related topics about breast cancer, breast checking, all of that. I just felt like it was a great opportunity to voice what I do at work, but on a louder platform. And then once I saw the response from that, where I had messages from young girls being like, I've never seen a young brown doctor on TV saying, it just makes, I don't know, it just shifts things a bit, you know? And then I just felt a bit empowered by that, and I thought actually I should use my voice
a bit more,
for things I feel passionate and believe in. And so if the right opportunity came along, I would. That's why I enjoy it.
Love it. Thank you. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Guys, I hope you guys have as well. So I'm going to say our socials, and I'm going to hand back over to you to, again, go over the charity and say your social media handles, and obviously promote your event that you're having as well in a few days. So we are at www.houseofmedics.org. Instagram and TikTok, it is We Are House of Medics, and Twitter is House of Medics, and the same with LinkedIn. We are also on Telegram, so if you want to send us a DM on Instagram, we'll add you to the Telegram group. Over to you, Doc.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You can find me at Dr Veena on Instagram, and all the information will be there. And you can follow the charity at sadar.uk on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
sitting
you
down
for
with
having
us.
me.
And
Had fun.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the 11th of October.
Yes,
right?
Tuesday.
See you guys then. Thanks for joining. Have a good evening.